Alright, what is up everybody? So on today's episode, how to counter steer a motorcycle, what it looks like, why it matters, why you need to know about it if you don't know about it. A lot of riders know about it, know it by name, know what it does. I think they may teach it in, or mention it at the least in like MSF courses. I'm from Alabama. You don't have to take an MSF course to get your license. So, new riders especially need to be aware of this and practice it and get good at it. So, basically, to steer any motorcycle, bicycle, anything with two wheels where the front wheel pivots, you do it. You do it without realizing you're doing it, but if you're conscious of it and aware of it, on a deeper level, more than like a kid learning how to ride a bicycle, like they do it. You just don't necessarily maybe realize you're doing it. But if you know a little bit more about it, or practice it, get good at it, and really focus on it, then it makes riding any bike easier, especially a bigger, heavier bike. So I'm on the T7 today. And so we'll just jump right into it. What is counter steering? So to turn anything with two wheels, motorcycle, you turn right to go left. Kind of like the movie Cars. Turn right to go left.
Oh, right. That makes perfect sense. Turn right to go left.
Left turn. Turn the handlebar to the right. If I push the left handlebar, I'm turning the wheel to the right. The bike goes to the left. If I pull it to me, I'll go to the right. Why is this? The front wheel is in line with like the mast and the center line of the bike, and if you turn the front wheel, let's say to the right, then it's going to try to roll out from underneath the center line of the bike, which effectively pitches the bike's center of gravity, or whatever. I'm not a scientist, physics, engineer.
So you're a judge, a doctor, and a racing expert.
It pitches it to the left. So there's a lot of videos that go on this in like a lot of depth. Like sport bike schools go over this and teach it. There's examples where people mount handlebars to the tank and reach down and grab those and try to muscle the bike, and you really cannot do it. You need to be counter steering. You're already doing it without realizing you're doing it if you're unaware. So it really makes flicking a big heavy bike around. T7's not really like the biggest, heaviest thing out there, but I'm also not the biggest guy out there myself at 5'7" and 160. So if you're counter steering though, you can effortlessly drop in, stand up. You can do it quickly, and it's no effort on the body. You're not trying to muscle the bike at all. You can be really, really smooth with it, and it could really save you as well. Let's say you overcook a turn. People get on the brakes. What happens when you get on the brakes is the bike tries to stand up. I'm on the rear brake hard. Bike's not standing up. I mean, I wasn't on it, panic hard, but trail braking, that's something sport bike riders do. I'm not a sport bike rider or racer, but I know the concept. If you find yourself overcooking a turn on the way in and you have to get on the brakes to slow down, the bike's not going to want to lean. Or if you're already leaned over, it's going to upset the suspension a little bit, put you lower in the suspension stroke. You're going to start dragging sooner. That's a little more in depth than we need for this, but there's a lot of stuff happens. But if you're overcooking a turn and you're not going to make it, even if you're counter steering at the speed you're going, you have to get on the brakes. The bike's going to want to stand up straight. So counter steering, being aware of it, practicing it, being good at it. Like I said, you're already doing it without realizing you're doing it on a very small scale. If you're riding a motorcycle, even a bicycle, once you achieve a certain speed, the bike really doesn't want to lean unless you steer out from under it. So that's my best attempt to explain it, show what it looks like, and how it could, you know, being cognizant of it could help save you if you was to be, for example, overcooking a corner. So when you're going through a corner, like, it doesn't look like you're doing anything, but on approach, when you go to tip it in, you're not just flat out like muscling the bike over. Like, you're ever so slightly tipping one bar right or left to you or away from you and making the bike lean. And again, as quickly as you can do it with no other effort. So anyway, like I said, that's my best attempt to explain it. It's something I've known from a very early age, riding dirt bikes, and been aware of from a really early age. And so riding a big heavy bike, I keep saying that like it makes a difference how heavy the bike is. Once it's rolling, doesn't matter if it's a Goldwing or if it's a kid's Honda 50. You know, once you're traveling at a little bit of speed, you make any bike lean over, tip into a corner just as aggressively as another one. I mean, to a certain degree, up until the hard part hits the ground. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful to somebody. If you're a newer rider, maybe you've only ever ridden dirt bikes, never ridden on the street, it's not something that's really mentioned or talked about, you know, from a dirt bike, motocross perspective, really. But I mean, you see the videos on YouTube all the time. You know, newer rider, first couple days of riding, trying to keep up with a buddy or something, and just overshoot corners. They don't know how to counter steer. They're not comfortable with it. They don't even know that by turning the bar the opposite way, it can help lean the bike in the direction they need to go. So yeah, that's all I got for this one. Counter steering, do some more research on it if you're not familiar. If you've been riding your whole life, you probably are familiar. If you ever took an MSF course, you're probably familiar. So anyway, we'll catch you on the next one.